Hi guys, we can start then. So let me share the screen. So first question is like consecutive number sum. So you are given a positive integer n, and you have to find the number of ways you can write the sum. You can write it as a sum of consecutive positive integers. So like if 5 is given, you can write it what is it in 2 plus 3 and 1 alone. I think 5, right? For this is 4 plus 1 way, 2 way, and alone itself is 1 way, 3 ways, and so on for 15. Yeah. So what do you think the brute force should be?
So we can set the starting value from 1 to the given value itself and then keep iterating from the given value and keep adding the consecutive numbers. So at any point the sum goes out of the given number, then we know that that possible combination is not possible. So we can break out of that particular
Yeah.
loop and then so we since we are always iterating through all the values as a starting point, that is from 1 to the given number itself. If at any point the the value at which we started and the sum which we got is same as the given number, then we can consider that as one of the possible answers. So
Valid answer.
and then again we can break out of the loop and then go with the other number as the starting point.
Point. Yeah.
What is the time complexity of brute force solution?
I guess it will be n squared because the starting point will be always from 1 to n, and then at most we have to traverse n by 2 elements
No,
or
it can be n by 2 also, right? I mean 2, 3.
yes, yeah. So that so it will be of the order n square of or n square root of n, anything out of these two.
Upper bound I think will be n square only. Right.
Yeah. Upper bound we can take as n square.
Sure,
For
sure.
worst case, this may happen that for any starting point, we have to iterate through all the values.
Makes sense. So how do you optimize it?
So if we see the given examples itself,
You want to share the screen, Abhishek, so that it will be more clear?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we see the given examples itself, here we can see 5 can be represented as 5 uh, itself or 2 plus 3. Now, if we take 2 plus 3 and we take 2 common from both the terms, then we will be left with
1.
1 plus 2.
Yeah.
Similarly, if we see the second possible case of 9, if we take 4
Okay.
common here, then it will be 1 plus 2 and then 4 is common to both. No, not common. We subtract the minimum number out of the both the numbers or all the possible numbers. So
Actually,
for
you are trying
example,
to
here,
make that a natural number, right? Once you take two
yeah, yeah,
common,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
n into n.
yeah. So here, if I take one common to both, for example, uh, 2 plus 3 can be written as 1 plus 2 and then 1 plus 1. So these two terms are as it is, and this plus 1 is so that we get 2 plus 3. So if we look at this closely, we can see that this is a continuous stream of integers with starting point as 1. Uh, let's take another example, which is 4 and 5. If we take 4 plus 5, we will get 3. No. We will get 1 plus 2. And then if I take out the terms common to both, then it will be uh,
I
3
think
plus 3. So 3 plus 1 will be 4 and 3 plus 2 will be 5. So again, here we can see that 1 plus 2 term is the consecutive
But can we
positive
do 1
integers with,
plus 3? We cannot do 1 plus 3 because it has to be consecutive
Consecutive,
positive
yeah.
integers.
So actually, he's
yeah,
trying
no,
to
no, no, no.
try
Yeah,
to use
I am
different
trying to break the solution.
Hmm.
So imagine 4 plus 5 as the stream of continuous number with starting point as 1, and then some terms are added to each of the terms. Then we get 4 plus 5. Similarly, if we take the last one, which is 4 plus 5 plus 6, 4 plus 5 plus 6, we get here again 1 plus 2 plus 3, since we have three terms. And then if I take out all the values out of these numbers, I'll be left with 3 plus 3 plus 3. So again, we can see the three numbers are the consecutive positive integers as the starting point is 1, and then we have some common factor uh, which is being added to all the three numbers. So this is how this problem breaks down. And if we look at this closely, uh, since 4 plus 5 plus 6 was 15, okay, I'll shift to this one. Here we can see. So here I've taken the last example, which is 15. So 50 for the first one, 15 can be represented as 1 plus 14, and then 8 plus 7 can be represented as 1 plus 2, and the common term 6 plus 6. Again, 4 plus 5 plus 6 can be represented as 1 plus 2 plus 3, and then the three terms 3. And again, the last one is already a consecutive positive number sequence with starting point as 1. So I don't have to consider, so I don't have to take any extra factor out of this.
So extra factor will be 0, right?
Yeah. No need to add, I guess, here. So now if we look at this closely, uh, we can always find the sum of this consecutive numbers starting from 1, which is n into
N
n
plus
plus 1 by 2. So this is the standard formula of the sum of the first n positive integers. Now, now we have to see how to find the this extra factors associated with each of the numbers. Now, if you look at this closely, if I take one example, which is I will take this example itself. Now, if I subtract 1 plus 2 both sides, uh, so here, this part 1 plus 2 will be cancelled out, and I will be left with 6 plus 6. Uh, yeah, so I will be left with 6 plus 6. And if I calculate this one, this will be, I guess, 6 plus 6 again, since this is a equality. And now, if we look at this closely, we will always find that the extra factor which we get is always equal or a multiple of the given number sequence itself. I guess it will be always equal to the given number on the right hand side after we subtract the uh, sum of the consecutive positive integers. So again, if I take this example where I am taking 4 plus 5 plus 6, if I subtract this part again in 15, I will be left with these numbers. So the general idea will be I will start iterating. So for n in range 1 to, let's suppose I take n plus 1 only. No, I will take, yeah, capital N for the given number. So I will iterate from 1 to capital N, and then I'll find this value. So this value means, so this value indicates that I am finding the sum from 1 to uh, n. And then if I subtract this particular value, n minus this particular value x, then I will be left with some value which has to be the multiple of total number of terms which I took. So if I look at this closely, when I was subtracting 1 plus 2 with 15, uh, I was left with 12 on this side, and if I further decompose this part, so this will be 6 into 2, and the terms which I cancelled out in 15 were two terms. So this is why I always have to now check uh, if the number which I am left with is a multiple of the total numbers which I took. For example, again here 15 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3 will be 6, which is 9, and 9 is same as 3 into 3, and these 3 into 3 I got from these three terms. So uh, so I just have to check if n minus the sum of the numbers, let's take it as an I, uh, that is 1 to I. So the sum is divisible by the given number I itself. Does this make sense? Because when I was subtracting 6, that is the sum of the consecutive positive numbers till the third term had three numbers in it. And then if I look at the extra factors here, I'll find that I have three extra factors of some value which is 3 here. So this is why I just need to check if this condition satisfies uh, for the given number at any point when I am iterating through these number of values.
Yeah. So if you are
Now,
able to successfully divide by I, so that will be the number of terms what you are looking for every time, right? And then you are keep increasing that from 1 to
yeah. So I'll just
whatever the
copy this.
maximum will be. Yeah.
Now, if at any point I get this value is equal to 0, then I know that this is one of the possible cases of my answer. So I'll just increment my answer by 1. And also here, okay, I'll assign this another variable since it is modifying the value itself. And then I just need to check here if y mod I equal to 0. So this is the numbers, and if I walk through with this example itself, when n is 1, x value will come out to be 1, and then when I subtract n minus 1, so I will get 14 here. And if I see 14 modulo 1, which I will get 0 again here. Okay, if I if I'll get 0 here, so this is the answer will be incremented by 1. Now when n values goes to 2, I'll get the value of x to be 3, which is these two terms. Now after subtracting here with the given number itself, I will be left with 12. And if I modulus it with the total number of terms, which is 2, so 12 mod 2 will be 0. So this is why this condition is this case is taken care of here. Now when n values come out to be 3, uh, the x value will be 6 here, and then 15 minus 6 will come out to be 9, and 9 is again 9 is a divisible of the total number of terms, which is okay. Yeah, now it is clear. So the total number of terms is n here. So 9 modulo 3 will be again 0. So I'll increment my answer. Now when I come to 4, uh, when I come to 4, this value will come out to be 5, 10, and then 15 minus 10 will be 5, but 5 modulus, the total number of terms are 4. So this is why here this condition will not be satisfied and my answer will not increment. But when I come to the value 5 here, uh, this value will come out to be 15, and the value of y will come out to be 0, and 0 modulus anything will be 0 again. So this is why answer will be incremented by 1. So so this is the last case where uh, our answer exists, and after this step we can see that we don't find any answer. So this is why we can further optimize our approach, where since we were setting the upper bound of the for loop to be n plus 1, but instead of this, since we are finding this term and then we are subtracting it, so uh, the value, so we just need to consider the values where the value of y is greater than or equal to 0. I don't have to consider, yeah, I don't have to consider the values where y becomes 0, since this does not make sense, and we don't have to take negative numbers. So this is why this value, if we want these values to be positive or greater than or 0, so the value of x has to be always from 0 to or 1 to the value y itself. And how do we make sure that this value is calculated at most till n only? If we look at this closely, this will be a sort of quadratic equation, which is n into n plus 1 by 2. And if I take this term as n itself for estimation, then I will find out that this n value comes out to be uh, square root of
X divided
2
by
into
X.
n.
X.
2 into X.
Yeah, 2 into x. So now we made sure that the value of x which we were calculating will be at most y, because we are setting the limit. Uh, yeah, we are setting the limit in such a way that the value of x does not go out of the given number itself, such that the smaller y value goes negative, and we don't want negative y value. So this is why we can set the upper bound of this for loop as square root of 2 into n, and for further optimization, for further estimations, we can just take this value as plus 1 or plus 2 for any edge cases. So this is our final solution, which we just need to code here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Overall,
And
No.
yeah,
time complexity is
and
that.
yeah, the time complexity will be square root of 2 into n, and since 2 is an extra constant factor, we can just take it as a square root n itself. And all these operations are constant operation time operations, so we just need to take this factor as our final time complexity.
One
So
more
Abhishek, one
example
thing.
can, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I understand this y greater than equal to 0. That is the only thing we have to look for. So we are trying to set this condition, right? Y greater than 0. So how do you just say this x equal to n into n by 2?
Yeah, let's assume here that the max value x takes is the given number itself, which is capital N. And then if I put capital N here, yeah, so there I took small n. Now if I okay, uh, yeah, I just need to take
That will be
small a,
small only, right?
small
Because
n only.
number of
Yeah.
number of
So at most the value of x can go up to capital N only, because the value of y has to be always greater than or equal to 0. So to make sure that the value of x uh, does not cross this
Capital
capital
N.
N value. Yeah. So we have to make sure that the value till which this n is satisfied. Okay, here I just need to make this capital and now this will
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this value can be at most capital N only, and it cannot cross capital N, because this is what
Mhm.
I was assigning to small x.
Yeah.
And then if I and for estimations I took n plus 1 as n here, and then if I calculate the value of n, I will get this square root of n.
Yeah.
So this is
Now
why
it makes
we were
sense.
taking, yeah. And since we were taking some estimations here, so this is why we can add plus 2 or plus 1 in our code.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is
So
O of root n, right?
yeah.
The
This
complexity.
is yeah. Square root of n.
Can we take one more example, Abhishek? Instead of
Yeah.
15, just let's take only 5. Let it be there only. So if we do 5
Okay.
and we try to break it, so 5, 4 plus 1, right? The first one will be
Yeah. First one will be Yeah.
or 5
Yeah.
only?
Okay. So we can start with 1 plus 4, and then the number of terms which we were taking was 1. So
1 plus 4 won't
so the,
happen, right? So it will be only 5.
Start with 1 plus 2 only, no?
No,
yeah, yeah.
so okay, we go from the way we started for the 15. We started from 15 first, right? So let's go do that. So 5 is
Yeah.
1. Okay. So this is one term, correct? So now you subtract 1 from that, so it will be 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it
and
will
then
be 4, and then the number of terms which I took was 1 here, I guess.
yeah.
So, and this will come out to be 0. So this is the case where we are taking 5 as the only term in the sequence. So here we can just increment our answer.
So okay. So before that, so should we take 5 modulo 1 equals 0, or we have to
Uh,
subtract 1 and then we take that?
yeah, first we subtract 1 and then check.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Then in that case, yeah, it will be okay. So then if you
and
go
then
for the second,
yeah, this will
so
be
it will be
5 minus 3. Since 1 plus 2 will come out to be 3.
1 plus 2.
2.
So we are actually going to separate only 1 in that case, right now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if we start with this for loop itself, the first value which we were subtracting for, yeah, the first value of small n was 1. So this is what we were subtracting here. And for the second one, we will be subtracting the sum of 1 and 2,
Okay. 4 minus
which
1,
was taking.
4 minus 2 actually. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it will be 4 minus 2, but here just we can uh, make it as 5 minus 1 plus 2, which will come out to be 2 here. And then again, the
Modulo.
total number of terms which I took was 2 only. So
Yeah.
2 mod 2 will come out to be 0.
Yeah.
And then answer plus plus again.
Yeah.
And
So it will be
then,
2 plus 3 in that case. Yeah.
But then in
yeah,
this case, like, why did we consider 1 and 4? Because they are not consecutive.
No,
So for
no, it's
5,
not the
they
series.
are no in
yeah,
see if you look at the example, they are saying the answer can be only 0, 5, comma 2 and 3, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this
So why
is
are we
the
considering just 1 and 4?
So
yeah,
that's
don't,
only one term, the first one. So the first one term is only 5 in this case, right? And
yeah.
so this is the
So
second term. So it will be 2 terms. So it will be 1 will be starting from 2 plus 1 and 2 plus 3, correct? Yeah, if you
yeah,
write that, yeah, 2 plus 1
Yeah.
and 2
yeah.
plus
So
We
I
don't have to
understand what
consider this as
that
the
person is
sequence.
saying. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry,
lost
1
his
plus
name.
1, yeah.
And then since square root of 2 into n, 2 into n will be
2
10
only.
here, and square root of 10 will be, the integer part will
3.
be 3, I guess. So we can just add 3. Anyways, it will go,
Outside,
the
yeah.
value will go, yeah,
Negative.
negative. So anyways, we don't have to consider this one.
Right, right.
So we can just add an extra check here, where we can just check if y is greater than or equal to 0, and then we can do our calculation.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So either 15 or 5, these are good examples. And yeah, so the way you said, instead of even going that route, like you said, calculate the square root of whatever that upper limit is, we can just keep on subtracting, right?
Yeah,
Then,
yeah, yeah. So if I move to my implementations of the question,
okay.
so this is the first one, where we are iterating from 1 to square root of 2 into n, and then we are just finding the value here, n minus the sum of the terms, and then the factors which we have to check here, and then we can just increment if the given condition is satisfied. So this is just this implementation in C++.
Yeah.
But again, since we are performing repeated multiplication, instead of doing this, what Santosh already mentioned, we can just we can just subtract 4 minus 2 here, which will come out to be 2 again. So if I go with the second implementation, I'll start with answer 0 and I is 1, similar as the previous one. And we will always keep iterating until the value of n goes to negative, because a negative or greater than negative or 0 also it will be satisfied, since, and then I need to subtract the current number of terms. So at first 1 will be subtracted, in the next iteration 2 will be subtracted, in the third iteration 3 will be subtracted, and then the 2, 1, 2, 3 specifies the number of terms which I was adding. So I just need to check if it is divisible by the number of terms itself, and if it is, I just need to increment my answer, and finally I can return my answer.
Yeah. So this implementation is so easy.
Yeah.
So you're doing this on line number 15 because that n into n plus 1 by 2 would always be an integer, is it?
N into n plus 1, 15
So, okay, this I denotes what? The number of digits, right?
terms.
Terms.
Yeah, number of
Number
terms.
of terms.
Yeah.
Number of
Yeah.
terms. So when you're doing this n equal to n minus I, so you are left
Yeah.
with what? So what is this n into n? N equal to n minus I.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
Is this equal
again,
to n into n plus 1 by 2?
No,
if I take this example itself, for first iteration, 5 minus 1 will take place, and then the value 4 will come in by given value of n itself. And then I just need to check which term, number of terms which I was considering at that iteration, which is 1 here. And then if it satisfies this condition, I just increment my count. Now for the second iteration, 4 minus 2 will be done, since 1 is already considered in the previous iteration. So this will come out to be 2, and then 2 mod 2 again will be equal 0. So I can just increment my answer. Now in the third iteration, I'll perform 2 minus 3, which will come out to be minus 1. No problem. But if I do minus 1 mod 3, this is not equal to 0. And then I won't increment my answer here again. And since the while loop always check that the given value is positive, so this will terminate at this point itself. So this is the walkthrough of the second implementation, where we are not doing this repeated multiplication, but we are just subtracting the terms of the given sequence itself. Since the term was always starting from 1, and it will go up to this value square root of 2 into n. So the implementation is similar, but we are saving some computations of repeated multiplication in the second implementation.
Yeah, but the first one is more intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first
total
one is
number
the
of
complete the formula, right? Yeah, and the algorithm.
Yeah. We are just saving the repeated multiplication factor. Otherwise, anyways, we are checking these two conditions in line 13 and line 15. So to save the extra factor of repeated multiplications, which will be added if the number is quite large, so we can go for the second implementation.
Yeah, cool. So what is
Okay.
this called as? This is the Shor's algorithm. What do they call it?
So source, yeah. It's a famous Goldman Sachs problem, I think. This problem in every interview you'll expect this.
They ask every time in Goldman Sachs.
Yeah. It's very
Okay.
famous.
So let's not apply for that company then.
Yeah. Yes. So this is just a generalization what Abhishek mentioned, like those many terms you create, and if you segregate, so n times d you are using. So this is 1, and this will be, you will be left with all the difference. So this will form a arithmetic series, right? So if you just simulate it in a formula, what will it d into, n into n minus 1 plus 1, n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So d minus 1 into d by 2, you'll get equal to this. And once you solve this equation, so n cross d will be equal to your this, right? Isn't it? And
Okay.
if this is divisible by d, then that means the result of this will also be an integer, right? and which will be valid only, what you say, I mean, this will be an integer and this can't be more than, I mean, when at max what will happen? This will be a 0 when it will be 0, when n and d into d minus this term equal to this n. So
And
if you take d, then it will be, I mean, I'm ignoring -1 like just for the sake of simplicity. So it will be d equal to root of 2n. I mean,
okay, so you are evaluating that way.
yeah. It's the same thing. He used example as a more generalized. So the code is similar what Abhishek shared. Like here I'm going to n+1 and then I'm calculating the difference out of it, and this is the ND part, and you just check if it is negative, you break out of it. Otherwise, if it is a multiple of the, then you increase the count in that case and return the count. Right.
Okay, so this is the second implementation what Abhishek was showing, correct?
This is first one, right? Because I'm calculating this difference
Okay.
and then subtracting. Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Abhishek, yeah, second. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Abhishek, yeah.
Yeah, in line 4, I guess we can just iterate till square root of 2 into n instead of
Okay.
iterating till n.
The upper limit he didn't consider, therefore it was okay, not evident that it is the first one. Okay, problem. But is anyway breaking, right? So okay, no, he's breaking only till it goes to the 0
Once iteration
or negative.
It's a mix of both. You can not mix. It's a first implementation of Abhishek almost, right? Isn't it?
Okay, no, it's slightly different though, right?
Yeah. That's why I thought miscellaneous of first and second. I was about to say because there
Yeah,
is
I guess. Yeah, so the complexity will be anyway same since in line 7, the value is breaking out of the for loop.
at root 2 and I mean at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
yeah. Then we can switch to next. Or
But
any
okay,
question?
before this is a hard question for sure. But if we analyze it the way Abhishek did it and everything, okay, it seems to be a very different algorithm, right? We don't
It's not
encounter
that
those things.
intuitive to come up. That's true. Like it's, I mean, doesn't fall align straightforward, right?
No, that
Like
is fine, but
separating
that is what it is now. But if it is some different mathematical implementation, so that is what it is. So, okay, what type of this mathematical, what you say, the topic they
number
fall
theory,
into?
number theory, you can say like on a higher level, like some of APGP series we are using, right? AP series we are using here, right?
No, AP series is just for implementation sake, right? But they call it more into quantum computing and all that. Is that true?
Is
Because
it
there are some mentions about it. If you look at some of the comments,
in the solution?
yeah,
Yeah, maybe then.
somewhere they have mentioned it.
Okay, now it's good to know then. I mean, it's mine is not pretty much.
They say it's something to do with the Shor's algorithm on the quantum computer.
Shor's
That
spelling?
SHOR.
Yes.
SHOR only. Yeah, Shor's,
Okay,
the lower one. Yeah.
I didn't see the recommendation, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a polynomial time quantum computer algorithm for integer factorization.
Yeah. So that is what they call the integer factorization. So the way you guys were dividing the numbers in different ways, right? So he started with taking 15, then dividing all that. So that is what actually it is a integer factorization problem and finding its divisors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know. I mean, we can go through this one day, right? Like, yeah, exactly. Quadratic equation they are following here.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Anyone heard about these? I'm just asking actually.
No, I heard first time from you. Like,
Abhishek, did you hear about this?
No.
good article to see.
Some things are not meant to be heard.
No, but if it is, if it's going to be the means coming up soon, why not we actually have a session on this. That is what I was thinking
Sure,
about,
sure, sure.
right?
One session we can have people.
Like
let's
we
see,
had the
like this.
Catalan's number, something like that. We can come up with this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Then let's move to next. Yeah. So this is like we have to partition the array into disjoint intervals. So array is given and partition into two contiguous subarrays. And it's like all the elements in this subarray will be lesser than the elements on the right subarray. And you have to make sure that left should have the smallest size. In that way, we have to partition. Like you can see 5, 0.
My confusion here is like in the first case, how do we decide we keep 5, 0 and 3 on the left and 8 and 6 on the right? Can't we keep 5 on the right?
No, but if 5 is on the right, you are telling you want to keep 5 on this right?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be also, and they are also.
I don't think you can disturb the subarray. Or can you?
Yeah, you cannot actually. The order is important. It is a sub array.
But they haven't mentioned anything about the order.
Right. So if you see two
Contiguous, they
contiguous,
say, no?
two
Yeah,
contiguous.
they say. Okay.
This one, the first
Right.
line is mentioned. Every element in left is less than or equal to every element in right. So if we take 5 as the left subarray, and then the minimum element in the right subarray will come out to 0. So 5 has to be always less than or equal to the minimum element of the right. But 5 isn't less than or equal to 0. So this is why we need to go beyond 5 in this case.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to
So
partition at least in two, left and right. Correct. So at least we have to have some elements in left also.
Yeah. So anyways, we just have to check here that the maximum element of the left subarray is less than or equal to the minimum element of the right subarray. This is what we need to find. So this is what we can come up with using the first condition which they have mentioned in the problem statement.
Okay, but should it be only less than? It should be less than and equal to, right?
Yeah. It is less than or equal to,
Okay.
as mentioned in the question.
If minimum.
Yeah, you almost told the answer.
Yeah.
This is what we have to do here.
But what I thought.
Yeah,
No,
just
I mean.
maintain two arrays and
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, in the brute force I'm saying. Yeah, go on. Just,
No, I thought that binary search tree I'll create, and all the elements on the left subtree will be lesser than the right subtree, right? And just we have to take care of the size, like left should have minimum size. But I think that was.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't track this thought.
Are you trying to say it's like the segmentary way?
No, normal binary, like 5 will be the root first, right? Then 0 will go this side, but sub array will disturb, I think, right? And 3 will go this side. And now 8 will go this side and 6 will go this side, right?
Instead,
Now,
shouldn't we do it with the like creating a heap for that median thing?
median, what advantage you'll get out of that?
Using that approach, like it will be pretty easy. Suppose we take 5 in the left and 0 in the right, correct?
Okay.
Then we'll notice that the left one should be having the less elements. So instead, let's keep 0 in the left and 5 in the right.
Well,
Then
you
3
cannot change
comes
the
in.
order, Harun. You cannot disturb the order. See, if you take 0 in the left, then you have to take 5 also in the left. So you cannot take 5 in the right in that case.
Order will be disturbed.
You cannot move. The way he is actually dividing the left and right. So if you see 5, 0, 3, they are consecutive ones. Therefore, they are the left side.
Okay. Got it.
but Shashank, yours one sounds good to me. Like for a solution, let's not talk about optimization. So what you can do is you start with 5, okay? And the way you build this, like the way you check this BST, right? Now to the left side, you pass your minimum as this minus infinity and the maximum as 5. So there's nothing to the left, so it is nothing, right? In the right side, you pass this your minimum as this 5 and the maximum as infinity.
Plus
infinity. That way you can check like does every element belong to this range, because you have a 0, right? The next element, so that is violated. You have to have in the range 5 to infinity. So yours approach can be done. That trying to build the binary search tree for every element as the root, and if you are able to, then that is the right index of breaking the array.
Oh, but
Yeah.
will that always work? So if you take an example like this, see, if it is 324186,
324186.
324186, these are all separate numbers,
Yeah.
right? So if you start with 3, you go to 2.
Then 4.
So
No,
first of all, what is the answer? 3241 and 86, right?
yes.
So 3241 will be on the left side, correct?
Yeah.
And 86 will be on the right. So now how do we do that?
No, it will be
Right.
order will be
So
distorted.
sorry,
So
what order?
I'm saying order won't be distorted.
Yeah,
Like
it is not.
go ahead.
Yeah. So it won't be a good solution, like a good optimal solution, but it would work, I think, because so you start with 3, right? And there's nothing to the left. So to the right, you pass this range of 3 to infinity. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
see this 2. So your range is violated. So you cannot build a BST, I mean, with the root as 3.
Okay.
Right.
So you'll go for
Then
4.
you go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
this 2.
2. Okay.
Okay. So to the left, you pass minus infinity to 2. So the left is okay. Or no, you want the right to be smaller or greater? No, it's okay. It's
Right
okay.
has
It's
to
okay.
be
You want
Yeah.
greater.
But when you are
yes.
at 2, yeah. When you are at 2, to the left, you make this call of minus infinity to 2. Right. And to the right, you make the call of 2 to infinity. So then again, you later on, you'll see this 1. Right. So again, you
Yeah.
cannot make a tree with the 2 as root. Now you come to 4. So to the left, you pass minus infinity to 4. So left is cool, but to the right, you have to pass 4 to infinity. So again, this 1 would break it for us. Now, when you come to 1, to the left, you pass minus infinity to 1, and to the right, you pass 1 to infinity. So this holds, right? So at
Yeah.
1, you can break. Everything to the right of 1 can go to the right side, and everything to the left of 1, including 1, can go to the left side.
Left side.
Okay. So in this case, it's going to be n log n solution, right?
I'm creating the tree.
And
itself.
log n.
Yeah, that is how we
Yeah.
create a
So
binary.
For
we're
every
creating
step,
a
you have to
tree,
check.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So that will be, when we are checking, it's going to be just log n, maybe the height of the tree, right? And
Yeah.
then n times you're
But
going
doing
to
it
do
for
it.
every node.
So it will be n log n. So still, it's not a bad
Yeah.
solution, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad
N log n,
solution. Yeah.
n log n is a good
Actually,
one, yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
good
got this
approach.
Yeah.
intuition from there. Count the number of elements on the right. I mean, day before yesterday, I was saying you 315 problem, right? Like I'll create a BST. How many number of elements are lesser? So that from there, I thought it would come.
Shashank, which is that problem? 872?
315, like where we count number of.
I'm just
elements.
kidding. I thought
Okay.
you know the 872 one also.
No, no,
I'm just kidding. Relax.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you have implementation somewhere?
No,
Did you
I
see that?
I-
Or okay, but
I
that's a
thought
good
that
one actually. Yeah,
it will work or not. Yeah.
it never came to my mind though, but yeah, that might be one. If possible, try to implement and see if it works. You know,
Yeah,
and share
sure.
it.
Because see, similarly I've implemented in 315 problem, but there I have to return number of elements which are lesser on the right side of it, right? So if I'll try to use what Harshit said, like that range, like always on the left -2 to the given root, your range will lie, right? And on the right side from root to plus infinity.
Yeah, so there might be some slight more tricks to
Variation.
work on it. Yeah, I don't think so. It will be completely straightforward. So in some,
No,
so you'll have to run on different test cases and just find out if all of them pass. So you'll come to know what is the best one to do. Cool.
Yeah. So I can think of a O of n but space utilizing solution that you build your array of left maximum. Okay, so like build an array where the ith element stores the maximum element till that index. Okay, and similarly so this would be a left to right traversal. And similarly, you build an array from right to left where you store the minimum. Right.
Mhm.
So let's make the array. Let's take this example only.
Okay.
Shashank, can you write it for me? I'll just
Yeah, go ahead.
tell. So let's make the left to right array, the left minimum one. Okay, so initially it would be 5 only.
Okay. Let me annotate. What happened?
Instead of
Okay.
annotate, you can write on the. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
just
will be
annotate anything works. Yeah,
Yeah,
5,
yeah. Hmm.
and then you see a 0, so it would be 0, right?
Yeah.
I'm making the minimum. So write 0, and again you see a 3, so it would be 0 only.
Minimum till
So all
now
the way
you
it would be 0, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So write 4 more zeros, 3 more zeros, sorry.
Hmm.
Yeah, cool. So now let's make
Minimum
the second
five.
array now. We have to start from the right now. So now
Max.
we have to find. Okay, I think
Just write
it's
Yeah,
below
the
that.
other way.
just the
It's
opposite.
the other way. It's the other way. Yeah, you have to make the maximum from your left and minimum from your right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, minimum from the
Sorry.
right. So no problem. So
So
minimum
yeah,
will be
it's
6. It will be 6. Then it
No,
yeah,
will
I
be
think
6.
he's saying you. Okay, you want to delete the first one or okay?
Yeah,
only
first
minimum
one would be the other way. Yeah.
and maximum from right. You are saying right?
So it would be yeah. Okay.
5,
So 6,
5,
6, 3, and 0, 0. Yeah, you're right. So
5.
5,
Then
5,
again
5,
8.
5, and
8.
8 and 8.
Okay. This is the
Right.
maximum. Okay.
So now we can use a 2-pointer approach. As in, you start from your 0th index of your this second array. Like you start from 5.
Okay.
This
5.
one, the below one,
Yeah, yeah. Got it. This
and
5.
you start from the rightmost index of your minimum array, which is this above one.
6.
Yeah. So if this maximum is less than the minimum, then you can break at this point, right?
But here, which is possible. I mean, your maximum is less than the minimum.
It is failing, right?
I guess we can just compare the adjacent values in the both the arrays. So for 5, we just need to check the second 0 in the first array.
Oh, this way you are saying?
That is why
Yeah.
that is how we can do the
Yeah,
partition.
yeah, yeah. Second
Yes.
0. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Diagonal way. Yeah. Okay.
So wherever
Right.
the
So
minimum and maximum cross each other, correct? So that is the point of partition.
yeah, right. So you start with this 5, like the 0th index of this below array and the first index of the above array.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this 5 initially, and then you have this 0. So
Yeah.
this maximum has to be less. Maximum has to be, sorry, the minimum has to be greater than the maximum, right?
Yeah. Then only all the elements will be lesser
Yeah,
on the left side. Yeah.
right. So then you move one step in both of them. So now you move to 5 and 3. So
And
again,
5
this is
and
false. Now you come to 5 and 6. So this is where it holds.
this area.
Yeah, this
So
one.
here we just written the index plus 1.
Right, index plus 1.
So the reason why we take the pointers in the max to be on the very left, and for the minimum, that array we take it 1 plus on the left, right? So the reason is because we are finding actually coming from the minimum, which are coming from the right to left, right? And this guy actually we are going
Right,
from left to right. So we always have an additional one more element in the array which we come from the right
right,
to left,
right.
right? Okay.
Right. So we are exploring all the possible partitions. So when I say that I am at my 0th index in my max array and my first index in my minimum array, so basically I am exploring this partition, 5 to the left and 0386 to the right, which is not possible. So now I move ahead. I move to my first index in my below array and the second index in my above array. So now I'm exploring this partition, 50 and 386.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So I think this is the one which I've written is same, but it's only space. What do you say?
Yeah, so if we see this, the approach which we took where we were calculating first the two arrays itself and then iterating again, we can see here that the left array which was taking into consideration the max values that can be taken care of just while iterating through the given array itself. So we can
Correct.
save another linear space if we just do this in two pass. Otherwise, in the first approach, we were doing three pass, but here we just need to construct the uh, right minimum array, and then while iterating through the given array, we can keep track of the maximum element from the left index. And then at any point where the max value till the index from the left part is less than or equal to the minimum value from the right part, that point is our answer. And since we need to minimize the length of the left subarray, we can just return that particular index.
Okay, so you're saying that first
Okay,
we
but
need
then
to do
how do you
exactly.
build this?
Uh,
Yeah, so what
Shashank,
I'm
if
saying
I
is,
could,
how do you build this minimum array from the right?
yeah, for
Do we
that
not need
we
that?
have to iterate. Yeah, we have to iterate and construct a array first.
Yeah. So I would say first do
Okay.
a complete three
Yeah.
pass solution, the way Harshit said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then you make it two pass, and then if you want to do it more ambitious than the way Shashank did it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Shashank is not using any space, right?
He's
Yeah,
using.
he
yeah.
is space is
Here,
not used. This is what Abhishek mentioned. Like you maintain a max so far or min so far, and just check at every point of time if the what do you say the left element is less than your max. That will be the breaking point.
But are you not using that on line 4? You are using an array. Is it not that?
no,
No, I'm just
it's a
copying
That's a
particular
single
value.
variable.
first yeah single variable first element of the array.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
putting it
Yeah.
like
Okay.
this way.
Yeah.
So and that I'm treating
Okay,
as
I don't
max.
understand this. Like, so Shashank, in the previous example, I get this variable max so far that is taking into account your maximum variable as seen from zeroth index, right?
Starting index, yes. So
Yeah.
initially your max so
Then
far is
and
five
then
here.
okay.
And now you go through, I should have
Yeah.
started actually from 1, but unnecessary I started from 0. Now you what
Yeah, it
will
would be
happen?
the same.
Yeah, it would be same. So until now here you what you will say 5 only. Now you will check whether a of I 5 is less than 5. It doesn't make any sense, right? So you won't enter this loop.
Okay.
Now you will
Correct.
go for 0. Now 0 you will go, so till now the maximum is 5 only, right? Now
Right.
you are comparing whether 0 is less than 5, which is true.
0 is less than 5, which is true, right?
Yeah, so your disjoint
Okay.
point now will be 1. I mean, the 1th index will be your disjoint point.
Okay.
And max so far will still be what do you say 5 only, because that is the maximum you have seen till now, right? And now again you will take 3
Right.
again. 3 is less than your 5, right? So your disjoint point will be this one, and your max so far will still be 5. Now but now once you 8 comes, so your
Wait.
when 8
3 is less than 5, so you change your disjoint point. Okay.
disjoint point will be 3. Now when 8 comes, 8 is never less than 5, so it will never enter this loop. Even
Yeah.
6 is pardon?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. And even 6 is not lesser than 5, so it will never enter. So that means this was the final destination, like, I mean, the disjoint point,
Okay. Okay. So you are trying to go as far as you can go with your maximum,
maximum,
right?
yeah. And stop at the point where, like, so it is like this.
Okay. So had this been a 4, yeah.
Minimum of
Yeah.
this
So had this been a
should
4
be,
instead of an 8,
okay. Then
yeah.
then
So
this
had
will
this
be
been
your
a 4 instead of an 8, then you would have gone till 4 also,
4,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
So basically the
Yeah.
minimum of
Cool.
this should always be greater than maximum of this. This is what
Right.
we are trying.
Yeah.
So this is the way we would always imagine, right? The way we look at this problem. So
Yeah.
what the way you came up with was a very methodical approach, Harshit. So that would be a best way of doing it. But this one is
Yeah,
just
that's
if
the
you look
first one
at
I
it,
would pitch.
absolutely, because that makes sense also. Because I was thinking about this, but the way he did it is very clean and neat, right? So what he is
Yeah,
doing is he taking the first 5 year, and then whenever he actually starts from his left to right, he keeps on looking for whatever the elements are lesser than that. So that will be his max so far. So till whatever he
Mhm.
comes to 3, so that also he keeps on putting in that. But after that, none of them are going to be equal to that. So then he's actually
Lesser.
dropping that.
right. Yeah,
So
he's not even bothered about the right part, like the suffix
right.
minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you take for this, the one what I was saying, if it is 3, 2, 4, 1, and this 8, 6 problem. So this one actually, so even if you start from 3, so your max is now 3, right? So you come to 2,
Mhm.
so you would always think, okay, 3, 2 are good, okay, because you see 4, which is higher. But then when you come to 1, you see that 1 is still lesser uh, than 3, right? So therefore
Three.
you are, yeah, therefore you actually keep till here. And then you actually go
Yeah,
for
so
8 and 6.
before that, you will update your max to max so far as 4 on
Yeah,
line
then you'll have
number
to
7.
update that. Yeah, 4. Yeah. So then if you find
Yeah.
anything between the
So
4,
now,
then it is fine.
mhm. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, good one.
So it looks, this is the way actually will be the best way to implement, I would say, right? Because it doesn't follow any of the
Yeah,
tricks what we did.
Hmm.
This itself is a
yeah.
simple implementation. But if you really focus, you'll come get about this implementation also, or maybe yeah, you might even
Yeah.
implement it. It's not still straightforward.
No, I mean, with a
Yeah,
single
yeah.
variable,
Yeah. My next approach would have been to just remove one of those two arrays, because you can keep your max of r in one variable and then just maintain a suffix array. So this would have been my third solution if I would have been able to come to it.
So it's like a multiplication. I mean, we have no that question. What do you say?
I
Array,
think
I mean, you have to,
this is like more of a frog jump problem, right? So if you have this 5, if you add that, then you keep on looking for it, how far you can go. So we have that frog
Yeah,
jumps on
right.
that,
yes.
Yeah,
but it's more simplified
more
version, I
like
would
a
say. Mhm.
peak
That
index
uses
sort
a
of thing,
BFS.
global peak index.
Or it's a candy array also problem. Candy. I mean, you
Mm.
have to distribute candies
Yeah, left,
1
right.
yeah, left, right. There also we do the same thing what Harshit said. Left, we maintain the left minimum from left and maximum from right, and just take the minimum of what is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah. This
like this
approach is mainly
implementation.
used when we have to deal with subarrays. So I
Mm.
found a pattern, like the approach I mentioned about two arrays. So it works when you have to deal with subarrays.
I've seen this pattern you are applying at one more place. I don't remember like same thing
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did. Prefix
yeah,
suffix array. Yeah, I was. Yeah, that is a pattern. I mean, standard pattern, right? Whenever you see something like continuous and things like maximum
yeah.
and minimum,
Prefix, suffix sort
maximum
of thing.
suffix prefix.
Then it applies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good to know for the yeah. Then we can switch to next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
So next is like subtract the product. Let me open the solution also meanwhile so that both will run parallelly. Yeah. So yeah, given integer and return the difference between product of its digits and sum of its digit, right? So 2, 3, 4 is given. So product is this and your sum is this and get the difference out of that. Yeah.
Frankly, do they ask this question nowadays?
No,
It's
no, I don't think so.
might be like
Yeah.
icebreaker also not, right?
No, not at all. Why?
If he has to check language syntax, something like that.
See,
Which question
Shashank
number
hasn't
is this?
implemented it. You see? Do you see
He
that?
will,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
He doesn't
beyond.
care to implement.
Yeah, it's easy is not visible to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Not,
those are
not a
blurred.
microscopic.
Yeah,
Good.
only hard or the hard plus one. Yeah,
Super
anyways,
hard.
so
Super hard.
super hard. Super hard is equivalent to Shashank.
Yeah.
no.
Lead code is discussing, right? They're trying to unveil another level.
Yeah. And now Abhishek
Okay.
is also keeping mum on that. He also doesn't
Yeah.
want to talk about it.
Abhishek has an effect, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking to do this in one line in Python.
Okay, yeah, that will
see.
be cool.
How? Let me see what I have done.
Yeah, even I have not implemented, but
Yeah, in one line. Okay, that would be good one to do. Okay.
Here I'm converting to a string and then
Hey
adding
man,
it.
you don't need to convert into
Come on,
string,
Shashank.
right?
3 passes,
Uh,
man. Come on. You
but
can do better.
why you convert into string?
String
Oh,
because I think it will be easy. Otherwise, I'll have to use that. What do you say? Mod operations to get every single
Modulo and
decimal.
divide, right?
right. So that
To
will be more
avoid that
easier.
modulo and divide, I directly convert it to string so that I'll save that operation.
But then
Otherwise,
you're
every
again
time
converting from character to integer, right?
this I'm doing. So this is inbuilt. I mean, I don't need to write the code, right? I mean,
But anyways, it would take some process, no? So it would
yeah,
take some
internally
time.
it will take. Yeah.
I would
But
say
lines of
never do that because that will be too much of competition.
yeah, that's true because internal conversion will be there, right?
Yeah.
But let's say if n is very large, then it this
Oh,
is good, right?
you
I
look
mean,
at
not
the
for
constraints. Look at the constraints.
10
It
ki
will be
power
10 to
5,
the
right?
5.
Has
Yeah.
to be an
Yeah.
integer anyways, right?
Yeah. So it will be within that integer.
Mhm.
And you're only dividing, no multiplication.
Oh, that's why dividing will never allow you to go beyond the boundary.
Okay. So in that case, let me show my code then.
Sure.
You can shut it down. So at least I can take that opportunity. You guys are not going to be there now.
Yeah.
So this is what it was, right? Okay. Yeah. So I did the very simple way. Okay. Just taking the product and sum and then actually taking modulo every time and multiplying there and adding it to the sum and just dividing by that. And then just to return this one.
Mhm. So this part only to avoid I converted to string the line number 8 to 14. But it's good to go by this way.
Line number 8 to 14.
If you would have converted to string, if you can treat it like an integer, I mean character, and convert it using int. If C++ allows converting. STY
Yeah,
function.
you can convert, but then again, there's the same thing comes. No, you'll have to converting to character. Then you are actually subtracting the ASCII code of it, and then finding this current, right?
Currently. That will be more
Yeah.
tedious here compared to Python. Yeah.
Not tedious. Yeah, that will be one way of doing it. But then if you are taking this n and converting into some integer string value, so that would be almost the size of this integer digits. So that much, if that is n, O of n, that will be, and then again this O of n. So it will be almost 2 passes.
2 passes.
Yeah. That is what I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is log n operation.
Not a log n operation. It is if you consider digits as your sample space. So the digits, whatever the digits will be, if they are the n, so it will be O of n, no?
No, but you're dividing
Yeah.
every time. So log factor should come,
No,
right?
that is for bits.
No.
What you are saying, Shashank, that is for bits.
So
No,
this is
There they are
not
digits.
dividing. Yeah.
so if you have a number and if you have to perform
Yeah.
division operation, log factor will come, I think.
it will be log base 10. It will be
Log base
log base 10.
Log base
So
10, right? Yeah, that is true.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, if I whatever my n is, right? So whatever the number of digits are in that n, okay, if I consider that as my sample space, okay, if that is n, okay,
Yeah.
so the number of digits.
Yeah.
So I'm actually dealing with each and every single digit, right? So that will be linear.
So for dealing
Yeah.
that with digits, you are doing this divide operation, which will give you a log factor, right?
Because
I mean, if
I
you
want to extract,
Right.
I want to extract each digit. So that is why I'm dividing.
which
I'm
is
not
at
actually
max 5
dividing
here.
into. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
think of it
at
this
max.
way. Let's say the number is 10 to the power 9, right? So your loop is doing nine processes, right? 9
Absolutely. Yeah.
iterations.
So nine will be by n, right? So that will be
Right.
my
So what is
stage.
9? 9 is log of 10 to the power 9 base 10.
No, okay. So you are
Right.
considering n, a whole
n
n.
by 10 and n by
No.
100, let's say.
Yeah.
These two
Anyways,
processes,
all of us are right.
n by
Yeah.
1000. So if you take the factor, this will give the sum of log n base 10, right? If you add this 10, every time it is reduced to n by 10, right? N by 100 by this. So this will be log n
Yeah.
base 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Santosh is saying that he's taking the number of digits. So O of digits he's saying. That is also good.
Yeah, O of digits, then that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
O of digits will
I want to stick with that because the problem statement says very clearly it is going to be the number of digits, right? The
Digits,
product of the
yeah.
digits. That's more
Hmm.
important. But they have given an integer number. Okay. So that is just an input. So I have to still extract all the digits. So the way I do the digit extraction, if I'm considering that O of n, so in that case it should be O of n, it should be constant, but it's not that. I'm actually playing with its digits. So my search space or my computational space is actually the digits, not my n.
And yeah, that makes
That is the way I look at it. So if you're fine with that, if the interviewer gets convinced, no issues. Yeah.
yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Extracting digits, yeah.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
I have one
Yes.
question, Santosh.
Yeah, Himanshu, go ahead.
So there is a possibility of overflow when we are taking a product, I guess.
Yeah, since we have only 5 digits, so at max
Oh,
the value will be 9 raised to the power 5. So
Right.
9 raised to power 5 will be 81 into 81 into 9,
Right.
which will be almost 10 to the power 5 or 10 to the power 6 range.
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I missed that
So
constraint.
the constraint was very small. So therefore
No,
everyone
but
was
that's
very easy. Yeah.
good point to bring, that it might hit overflow
Absolutely.
if the
Yeah.
range is big. Yeah.
So maybe this was sort of